Life, love, family. A lifetime of memories. Lost. Alzheimer's disease is the third leading cause of death in Australia. It begins with the brain. A normal brain consists of billions of cells called neurons. Neurons are constantly communicating with one another through electrical charges, creating a cellular circuit. The electrical charges release chemical messengers called neurotransmitters, which bind neurons together. These processes enable communication within the brain. In a brain ridden with Alzheimer's, the communication process is disrupted by abnormal structures called beta-amyloid plaques and neurofibrillary tangles. As the brain becomes clogged by plaque and tangles, the ability of neurons to communicate with one another is compromised. Plaques form when enzymes called beta-secretase and gamma-secretase snip amyloid precursor protein, or APP, from the cell interior. What is left are fragments of APP, called beta-amyloid, which combine and accumulate rather than break down. This is what creates the toxic, insoluble beta-amyloid plaques, which interfere with the function of neurons. Neurofibrillary tangles develop when a protein called tau is modified. Tau usually surrounds the outside of microtubules, which are the internal transport system of cells. It is the tau that gives them structure. In the brains of those with Alzheimer's disease, abnormal characteristics in tau make it unable to perform its duty of holding together the microtubules. As a result, the protein separates from the microtubules, causing them to fall apart. The separated strands of this tau combine to form tangles inside the neuron, disabling the transport system and destroying the neuron cell. The presence of both beta-amyloid plaques and neurofibrillary tangles cause the death of neurons in various parts of the brain, reducing its functionality. The plaques and tangles begin developing in the hippocampus, the region of the brain where memories are first formed. Eventually, they destroy the hippocampus to the point where short-term memory is severely damaged, making daily activities difficult to achieve. After the hippocampus, they spread to the left temporal lobe, where language is processed, thereby impairing the ability to form words. Next, they reach the front of the brain, where logical thought takes place. This can cause confusion, making sufferers unable to grasp concepts. Then they hinder emotion control by invading the part of the brain where emotions are regulated. Next, the plaques and tangles advance to the part of the brain which controls the senses. Eventually, even long-term memories stored in the back of the brain are lost. The last few stages see the disease compromising a person's balance and coordination, and then fatally deteriorating the part of the brain which regulates breathing and heartbeat. As a long-time care manager at FlexiCare, Wendy sees the emotional impact of Alzheimer's firsthand.
The impact on everyone is really big. As a worker, you're looking at the problem from outside, but those families who are coping with it day by day, it's a really big strain emotionally on the families. And also on our workers. When our workers go in and they form an attachment, even though they're there in a professional role, you still develop a relationship with a person. So if you can see someone deteriorating and they're getting more forgetful, it affects everybody.
The emotional strain on workers does not compare to that which is endured by family members.
I'm Greg, and my mother had Alzheimer's. She started telling stories of things that she did that she never actually did. They're the sort of telltale signs. She'll tell you all those sort of tall stories that we know aren't true, but she simply she stuck by them. They were true in her mind. She forgot a lot of things, but she stuck by a lot of things that weren't true. My father was the main carer, and his life obviously got worse and worse because, number one, his partner is disappearing before his eyes. He's not having someone to talk to that can remember all the things that he can remember, and the places they've been, and all those sort of things. And as it progressed later on, his health was very badly affected because he was having to do everything for her. He could not he could not accept it.
For those with Alzheimer's, their light will eventually die. But for those who love them, the light will never fade.